Hello everybody and welcome to week 12. We're completely done with our book, so we are going to focus heavily on encryption and why we need it. Now encryption is basically it's the process of encoding. It could be text or a file or a data stream or anything that you really don't want unauthorized access to. A virtual private network, which is described as a tunnel through the network, is basically nothing more than heavy encryption and heavy decryption on the other end. And that's what is described to the layperson as a tunnel through the network, a secure tunnel from point A to point B. So let's take a look at how this actually works. Well, there's all kinds of online tools that you can play with, but this one I chose just because the way the settings are, it gives me an ability to explain things. So this is AES and online encryption. You can encrypt plain text, or you can actually choose a file. And if you choose a file, the code in the file would be encrypted. So if, let's just say you were sending a PDF, it's a picture that was top secret or something like that, it would scramble the code in the file. Now, you have two different modes here: ECB, which is electronic book code, or CBC, which is cipher book code, I believe. Anyhow, the ECB is the older version, and the CBC adds one more layer of security. And I think I have them up in tabs. Yeah, ECB, electronic book code, is a simple mode of operation with a cipher that's most widely used with symmetric key encryption. Symmetric key meaning the person encrypting the code uses the same key as the person decrypting. So if I sent you something that was encrypted and I was using a symmetric key encryption, I would actually send you the code in maybe a separate email or a letter in the mail, and then you could type in the code and open the file or the text or whatever it was I was trying to get to you. Cipher block chaining. Okay, it's a mode of operation for a block cipher, one of which sequence of bits are encrypted in a single unit or block with a cipher key applied to the entire block. So your block, your code, has a key applied to it as well. You need a key to get the key. Cipher block chaining uses what is known as initialization vector of a certain length. Okay, so that's your difference there. Basically, the main thing to understand: old, new, and better. But we'll just use old for for this demonstration. Now, key size in bits. Here's where you enter your key. Key size in bits. You have three different options. These are the three industry standards. It's believed that CPUs and computers, people are trying to hack, there will not be advanced computers until we get into like quadrum processors, and that's not here yet. So 256 bits should be resilient to any hacking for years to come. And something to understand about encryption: the keys, they can be cracked. They can be cracked, but the security behind it is that key takes so long to be cracked because the number of codes in a 128-bit key size is, well, it would be 2 to the 128th power. So 2 to the second would be 4, 2 to the third would be 8, 2 to the fourth would be 16, then 32, 64. So the number of combinations in a 128-bit key size is it's a number that the human mind can't understand. It's like yes, a billion or something. It's bigger than a billion, bigger than a trillion. So that's the idea. If it's encrypted, it takes forever to decrypt it with the processing speeds that we have today. So 128-bit key size. Enter the secret key. Okay, well, if it's 128 bits, that should be 128 zeros and ones. 111011. However you're gonna arrange it. But when we enter the key as humans, we don't enter a binary code, we enter actual digits. So I'm going to encrypt it. The key should be 16 characters long for a 128-bit key size. Okay, why is that? Well, it's 128 bits. So we're going to move up here to the board for a little bit. Let me make sure that the camera is going to see this. That should work. In binary, there are several different ways to convert binary to different languages. One of our base code languages is called a hexadecimal. It's really not a code language, it's like the basis of coding is called hexadecimal. Hex because 2 to the 4th power, meaning 2. Each one of these has 2 options. It's either a 0 or a 1 in binary. So to figure out how many combinations you have, and I'm still on the board, yes I am, you would go 2 to the 1, 2, 3, 4th power, and that would give you 16. So this is going to be hexadecimal code. And 0, 1 would be the number 1. This would be 0. This would be the number 2. This would be the number 3, and so on and so forth. How does this work? Let's see where would be the best place to put this up here. Okay, this is the 1's place. This is the 2's place, the 4's place, and the 8's place. So if there is a 1 under the 1's place, you have a 1. If there is a 1 under the 2's place, you have a 2. So don't imagine these as 0s and 1s just for purposes of getting the concept. Imagine these as just dash marks. You have a dash mark under the 2, so you get a 2. If you have a dash mark under the 2 and the 1, you add them together to get a 3. Now, 4, you would just put a dash mark under your 4. What would 5 be then? Think about it. 5 would be the 4 and the 1. What happens when you get to, see we have 16 combinations here, so what happens when we get to the number 9? What happens when we get to 10? We can't have a double digit over here, so what do? We switch to letters. So A through F would basically be in sync with 10 to 16 so that we can keep our digits over here as single digits. So a 9 would be an 8 and a 1, a 10 would be an 8 and a 2. And that would represent the letter A. B, we'd add 1 more. All the way down to F. So your hexadecimal code would look something like this. And that would be one block of hexadecimal code. You'd never see anything greater than an F in a hexadecimal code because there's only 16 combinations, 1 through 9, A through F. Now, the question that we have is why do we, let me make sure you guys can see this. Why do we need a key size of 16 for 128 bits? Because you would think, let's just say we have 8 bits to simplify it. There's, oops, wait, did I fix that? I did not. Can you see it all? Okay, so here's 8 bits of information. If you broke it down into blocks of 4, which would be our hexadecimal code, each having 16 possible combinations, this would be 8 plus 1 is 9. So you have a hexadecimal 9, same thing, hexadecimal 9. So 128 divided by 4 is 32, so why 16? Okay, the reason that we are using 16 digits is because our encryption code, our encryption key, can be any character that uses what people call ASCII, the American Standard Code for International Exchange. Now let me show you an ASCII table that kind of makes this make sense. Okay, so here are our conversions to decimal, binary, octal, hex, and ASCII. Here's our conversion chart. All zeros is zeros. Makes sense. Here's where I was talking about where we went from 9 to A. Don't focus on the octal right now, but focus on the decimal. The A is the number 10. Our letters actually start at decimal 65 and run through decimal 90. You'll notice the letter A is a binary 65 and a hexadecimal 41. But here's the big thing I want you to see. There are 8 characters necessary to convert over to ASCII. We start at 0, and we end at binary 127. So really, there's only 7 characters necessary. I don't know why the first column is nothing but zeros. Probably just because they didn't have anything else to use and they wanted to keep it at an even, an even 8-character binary code for programming purposes. But 128 divided by 8 gives us the 16-character code that we need to encrypt. So with that being said, what do you think would happen if we increase the key size to 256? What's 256 divided by 8? Now we need 32 characters. So anyhow, when you encrypt something, you apply this key to it. It's a 32-character key with, I don't even know what the number is. It's so huge. It's like, well, it would be 2 to the 256 power, and it would take our processors, a great length of time to crack it. And then when it's decrypted, it does the same thing in reverse, but you need the encryption key. The same key, secret key, would go right here, and it will not decrypt without that key to plug the algorithm into, which then gives you your uncoded code or file or text or whatever. So for the assignment, we're not going to use this one because it's a little bit too complicated, I think, and people will get confused. So we're going to use this simpler encrypt and decrypt text online. And the assignment will be pretty simple for this. We're going to send each other encrypted messages in a discussion board, and we're going to decrypt them and see what they say. So text to encrypt, this is very simple to use. Hello. So you'll have a discussion board post, which is you guys talking to one another, but I'm also going to post something encrypted in the body of that discussion board, and it will also be posted in your assignment, and your assignment is to decrypt it and put it into a Word document and submit that. So those will be your 2 assignments and plus a brief quiz for this week 12. So your encrypted text, that's what it comes up with. And then you can copy it, paste it, decrypt it, and it's right back to where it was. Okay, did I cover everything? Book yet. This chart is found in your modules. I would download it and keep it. You can always Google it and find it online, but this may come in handy in other classes or in the future. Covered that, and the difference. I did already explain this. This is just the CBC cipher block chaining is just a more advanced blockchain, and it adds an extra level of complexity to the data. Alright, so that should cover everything for this week. Of course, feel free, there is just a plethora of online resources explaining encryption and the different types, and there's YouTube videos, and so feel free to explore it further if you'd like to know more about it. There's a lot of free encryption software if you're interested in encrypting data for whatever reason. But other than that, try to have fun with this week. It is pretty cool. We're going to send each other encrypted messages, and oh, why is encryption important when we have all these different firewalls and things like that? Antivirus, malware protection doesn't always work. It's really that simple, and encryption is just another level of protection, and it's also how VPN works. So yeah, that should explain everything, and you guys have fun with this and enjoy the rest of your week.